How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brown Logan, and today we got to talk about this video here from The Root. It has Trump's so-called most racist moments of 2017. I know it's going to be a load of malarkey, a load of nonsense, but I definitely want to see it to see exactly what they're going to say. You know, The Root is one of these websites where, I don't know, it's a so-called black website, even though it's owned by whites, but different story. I digress. They focus too much on the white man, and in my humble opinion, it's like black folks that wish that they could be the equivalent of what they think white people are. I don't think that way. I'm just an individual, and if we get along, we get along. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you come from, or whatever. If we got the same principles, if we got the same ideas, and we get along, it's not about me trying to cater to one group or be like one group. I just never have thought that way in my whole life, but I think The Root definitely does that, and they cater to those who think that same way. So we're going to see exactly what is in this so-called most racist moments of 2017 from Donald Trump from The Root. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Y'all, can we talk? Did you know that the president of the United States of America is a racist? I know, this is like water is wet, the sky is blue, but I thought I'd just leave some receipts here. We'll have the first year.
Some receipts.
Here are Trump's most racist moments of 2017.
Oh boy.
I am the least racist person that you have ever met.
45 kicked the year off by trying to bar a whole swath of people from entering the U.S. Remember the Muslim ban that restricted people traveling from 7 Muslim-majority countries into the U.S.?
And this is the protection of the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. We all know what that means.
But conveniently, he forgot to ban the Muslim-majority countries that actually promoted major attacks.
Okay, now this map right here, this map is totally fake. This map is fake. I think this came from Bloomberg, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But this map is fake because it shows countries that he has so-called business ties with that happen to be in that same region. And he says, okay, well, if you're going to ban the countries that are in red, why not the countries that are in yellow? But the thing is, there are other Muslim majority countries around the world, including India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Indonesia. So if it was about a so-called Muslim ban, then he would have banned those countries as well, the countries that have the most Muslims. The countries that are in red were banned because of security issues internally. Some countries didn't have suitable places where you could get a passport legitimately. So if you were to come from that country on a plane, there's really no way of knowing who you are. It's a security risk. Okay. And like I said, if you really want to ban the Muslims, go to Afghanistan. Why was Afghanistan not banned? Does he have any business ties in there? Does he have a golf course in Kabul? What about India? What about Indonesia? What about Pakistan? I mean, come on, let's just be real. And what about other countries like parts of Russia, close to Armenia, Georgia, etc., like Dagestan, Uzbekistan, etc., etc.?
Because they're rich. In August, Trump took 2 days to call out white supremacists in the Charlottesville attacks that left 3 people dead and over 30 injured.
But you all.
Well, the thing about that is this. You can't just say that it was the so-called white supremacists that did the act, because right when it happened, you don't know exactly what was going on. You don't know who that guy was, who was affiliated with. All you know is that it was a rally and a protest, and then somebody got hit by a car. But who did what? There's no way of really knowing. It wasn't like he got out the car and screamed Allahu Akbar and had a bomb strapped to his chest or something like that, where it was obvious, you know, who he was. It wasn't like when he got out the car, you saw some type of Nazi flyer on him or something like that, which is the way it was in New York with the terror attacks. OK, so let's just be clear about what's going on. He needs to gather the information first before he says, OK, I condemn this group, you know. And the truth is, if it was the other way around, if it was some Muslims that did it, you would want him to do that. You would want him to wait until you got some information about who was really involved before he said what's going on exactly.
Also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Exactly. But see, before you even get started, I know you getting triggered doing all this, but before you say that, what he said right here is true. And I'm going to explain to you why, because people have been talking to me about this a lot over the past few months. Now, the whole point of that rally in Charlottesville, I'm from Virginia. I was in Virginia at the time, about 3 hours away from this situation. I've been to Charlottesville many times throughout my entire 33 years of living. I know what this city is about, and I know where this place was, where it happened. This was on the campus of the University of Virginia, which was built by Thomas Jefferson, who was a slave owner, but I digress. There was a statue of Robert E. Lee on the campus, and there was a rally to protect it, and some people were there to remove it. Okay, just because you were there to protect the statue does not mean that you are a Nazi or white supremacist or whatever. Those groups did come there, but they were not the only groups that were there. And then you had the other side who wanted the statue to be removed. You had regular everyday normies, college students or whatever, people who were not politically affiliated or with any kind of radical group. But you also had your Antifa, your Black Lives Matter, and your general rabble rousers. So when he says there were good people on both sides, he was talking about outside of the neo-Nazi, white supremacist, KKK, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and general troublemakers. They were just regular everyday people who just wanted to come there for a peaceful discourse rather than violence. But I digress.
Hold up. Did Trump pretty much just pardon members of the KKK and neo-Nazis?
No.
Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status?
Then in September, he referred to the NFL with 70% black players as SOBs. Right, because these men should just shut up and listen?
Nah, it's he's talking about the guys that's kneeling on the field. Not everybody that is in the NFL that's black was kneeling on the field before the national anthem or during the national anthem. That's what he was talking about. Don't just say, oh, he's talking about the whole NFL and because it's majority black, he was just being racist towards black people. No, not everybody had the same ideology as a Colin Kaepernick.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired!
October is when the Donald took his shenanigans to Puerto Rico. Aside from throwing paper towels, Trump threw Puerto Rico
Jump
leaders
shot
under the bus in a special kind of racist way. According to Trump, Puerto Ricans want everything to be done for them. In November,
how is that racist? Like, what is it? What is racist about it? I mean, how is it racist to say something that everybody knows about the Puerto Rican debt and stuff like that? How is that? How is it racist to criticize a government? It doesn't make any sense.
Trump was on a roll. He imitated Asian leaders because racism.
When I was in Asia, I spoke to a couple of the countries about it, and they looked like this. You know what this is? Mm-hmm.
He referred to Senator Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas.
We have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas.
That was a funny moment. And the thing about that is I did a video about this. I'll try to link it in the description box below. But I did a video about this where they went to not Trump in this administration, but it was a filmmaker. They went to Cherokee, North Carolina, which is a big time Native American area. I think it's also a reservation area. And they spoke to people that are actually native, real Native Americans, just like the Navajo code talkers right here. They spoke to them and asked about Elizabeth Warren. Nobody really liked her because of her being fake about her ethnicity, about being Native American. She's not Native American. She's white as snow, just like Rachel Dolezal is white as snow but pretends to be black, and the same thing as Shaun King, white as snow but pretends to be black.
But you know what? I like you because you are special.
And it doesn't stop there, folks. In the same month, Trump retweeted videos from an anti-Muslim activist, Jada Frenzen, the deputy leader of Britain First.
Okay, what does it matter where they came from? I mean, the videos are real. Like, did somebody just make those videos up in their basement? Was that a reenactment? Did they not happen? It's the truth. So what does it matter where it comes from? If Adolf Hitler says, hey, it's going to be rainy today, and then I tell you, hey, it's going to be rainy today, are you going to call me a Nazi because I repeated what Adolf said? If the weatherman says the same thing, if it's true, it's true. It doesn't matter where the source comes from.
According to the Washington Post, Britain First has been condemned as an extremist group that targets mosques and Muslims. And 45 is retweeting their leader because racism. And in December, the New York Times broke that Trump said that Haitians all have AIDS and Nigerians live in huts. Now, Trump, you know you racist.
Okay, but where's the actual proof of that? Where's the proof? Like, I could say anything about you. I don't know who you are, Felice. I could say that you said that. Now, who's to actually say that I'm wrong if there's no due process involved? I can say anything I want to, and then people just got to believe it. That's not how it should work. You should be able to have the privilege of having a fact-finding process, due process. You can't just say somebody said something without any information, without any proof to back it up.
Real talk. Are we at all surprised? This is the same man who was sued twice by the Department of Justice in the 1970s because he would not rent apartments to black folks.
Okay, you can be sued for anything. That don't mean that what you are sued of, that doesn't mean what you're sued for is actually true. Okay, just like I said, I could say that you, Felice, I could say you said something. It doesn't matter if you said it or not. If I say it, then are the people just going to believe me? I could also sue you for pretty much whatever it is. If I have a shredded evidence or I have some kind of EEOC or civil rights or whatever, I could use that and sue you for that. That doesn't mean that you did it.
The same man who took out full-page ads in 4 major newspapers asking for the death penalty for the Central Park Five, who were exonerated after spending between 6 and 13 years in prison.
Well, they did get locked up. They did get convicted. So why would you say that somebody who's saying give them a stiff penalty is wrong when they actually got convicted? They got exonerated, and that's great, but they did get convicted. It wasn't like they were presumed innocent and all this and that, and he just came after. Nah, they got convicted. They went to jail.
The same xenophobic man who wants to make America white again and build a wall to block bad hombres from entering the country.
See, now you're just making up stuff. Make America white again. I never heard him say that before. Make America great again. If you think that the only way that America could be great is if it's white, then that's something you got to do with internally. I don't know what to tell you. But as far as bad hombres, everybody knows that. Even people that are from Mexico know that. That's why they come over here to escape the bad hombres, as you say, rolling the tongue with the R. Everybody knows what's going on south of the border. Let's not pretend like it's not happening. Anybody that is down there would tell you. Anybody that's from below the border would tell you. Why act like it's not happening? It's the truth. Don't get mad at Trump for telling the truth.
The same man who wouldn't condemn David Duke or other white supremacists who supported him on the campaign trail.
He did condemn David Duke. Now you're lying. Now you're just straight lying. I think what you're referring to is when people were asking him about it at first, but the question was kind of unclear, but he did disavow David Duke and all of them. What they were trying to get him to do was disavow anybody that could be possibly linked to a white nationalist type movement, which could be anybody. They could say, I'm part of a white nationalist movement because I don't fall in line with the SJW rhetoric or narrative. Okay. But he did disavow David Duke many times. He disavowed him in the past, even before they asked him again. There's clips of him from the 90s talking about how much of a buffoon and an idiot David Duke is. They keep wanting to do it over and over and over again. How many times must you do the same thing? How about you, Felice? How about you disavow Planned Parenthood and their attack on the black community and the black woman? You're a black woman, but you probably support Planned Parenthood. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, but I'm going to get back to the actual video here.
So Trump's racist behavior, it ain't nothing new. If he talks like a racist and tweets like a racist, odds are he's a racist.
Okay. That is enough of that. Okay, Felice. That was very interesting. A lot of lies were in there, a lot of half-truths, a lot of, you know what, I'm going to say this as I close here. I think this is the way that black America generally thinks about Donald Trump. They think that he's a racist. They take things from the news media and they spin it to fit their own personal beliefs. And they also listen to the spin that a news media gives them. The news media will tell them, okay, this is how you're supposed to think about this. And then they just go out there and they pretty much believe it. They don't take time to look at what's actually going on. I think the most egregious example of this is the whole Charlottesville situation where he was talking about good people on both sides. Nobody really took the time. When I say nobody, I mean those pretty much on the left or those who lean left. They did not take the time to really think about what was being said. I always found myself breaking it down for people, and then nobody really has a great response to what I said. They get upset. They call me all kind of names, but they won't really be able to intellectually combat what I say because it's rock solid. People think that he was saying that the sides were people that were Nazis and those that were against the Nazis, but that's just not what it was. The news media will have you believe that, but that's just not the reality of it. The sides that he was referring to was those who were for the statue being there of Robert E. Lee and those that were against it. Those that were for the statue being there included white supremacists, neo-Nazis, et cetera, racist people, people that were there to cause problems, but it also included regular everyday normies. They might not have even been walking together. It was like a bunch of different groups that were there from all over the country, maybe even all over the world. Journalists, people that had their own companies, students of UVA right there in Charlottesville. A lot of different people were there. And on the other side, it was the exact same way. Good people from all across the country, students of the university who were there to see the statue removed in a peaceful way. But you also had those who were there to cause problems. Your Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and other random subversive groups, leftist militia groups and stuff like that. Then there was a clash. And unfortunately, Heather Heyer lost life as a result. But let's not act like both sides of the situation were just totally evil. That's not what it was. Or let's not act like one side of the situation was evil and the other side was good. That's the better way to put it. You had evil on both sides and good on both sides because there were multiple different types of people and groups that were there at the event. And I think breaking it down like that pretty much explains most of what was seen in the video. My favorite one is the Muslim ban and that fake map from Bloomberg. If I could find that original news story where they had the map where they show his business ties, I'll link that in the description box. That was some of the early peak fake news about Trump, talking about, oh, well, he didn't ban anybody from Turkey and Libya or whatever the country was. I think it was Turkey and Saudi Arabia and other countries. Why not ban anybody from there? You have a golf course there. You have business ties there, this, that, and the third. But they didn't look at a whole map. But see, this plays on the average person. As I close through this time, this plays on the average person's ignorance. They don't even understand what countries exist in the world or how to read a map. They look at what's being presented in front of them and take it as gospel because they don't know anymore. To anybody listening to the sound of my voice, if you think that what I said is false, if you think that I'm cooning or whatever kind of silly word you want to use, just educate yourself. Don't take my word for it. Look up what I said. Look at a map. Look at the majority Muslim countries. Look up what the majority Muslim countries are, and then you'll be able to see how you've been deceived by the mainstream media. So what do you think? Do you think that this list was on point? Did Miss Felice here break it down in a great way? You know, Black Girls Rock. Did she really knock it out the park? Or do you think that this list is a bunch of fake news, a collection, a smorgasbord of fake news from 2017, if you will? Do you think that people that listen to The Root, that watch The Root, will wake up? I've read some of the comments in some of these articles, and I feel like some people are starting to wake up, but it's going to be a slow process. It's like if you're in the Matrix, you're in a sea of pods, you're awake, you see everyone else sleeping, and it's like an endless amount of pods. So it may seem like a insurmountable task, an insurmountable goal, but maybe it's possible. I'm not quite sure, but whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.